Jackie Collins is my guest. She writes thrillers, maybe because her dad was a theatrical agent and her sister Joan an accomplished stage and screen actor. Well, she herself was an actor too. Early in her life, she was booted out of private school, which didn't bother her a bit. And it's true, you threw your uniform into the Thames and all of that. Would you send one of your girls? Did you send any of your children? 3 girls, right?
Yes, and I sent 2 of them to the school that I was thrown out of.
Really? And how did they do?
Because I knew, well, I was a strict mother because I was such a wild child myself that I was extremely, not strict, but I was always there for my children. I would take them to school, I would meet them from school, I would make them dinner every night. My husband owned nightclubs, so I would feed my kids, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, they'd go to bed. About 10 o'clock, I would go out to the club, stay there till about 3 o'clock in the morning. I never had any sleep, and I used to say to myself, one of these days I'm going to get some sleep. I'm still waiting.
My father, I'm sure.
Yes.
I bet you don't sleep much. My father said to me, you have a severe case of unmitigated badassery.
He sounds like a great guy.
He was.
Yes.
And he was a bit of a
womanizer?
Himself.
So was my
Yes,
father.
he was.
Yes, so was my father. Interesting.
And when my mother, should I tell this?
Yes, go ahead.
They're gone. When my mother found out, she got a facelift.
Oh.
I don't know what that was about.
Did it do any good?
No. It just, you know.
I think that my father was,
they are.
yeah, it was definitely a womanizer, and I think it colored my view of men, but it colored my view of the double standard, which in all my books, from the very first book, The World is Full of Married Men, and all my books now are available to download, which is nice because people can read early books, yeah.
And when your book is made into a movie, and how many have been?
About 9.
About 9, and they say, gee, Jackie, you can be the creative consultant. Do they listen to you?
Well, I learned that they didn't. When I made Hollywood Wives with Aaron Spelling, who was a wonderful producer who has since left us, and there was a cast of thousands, all these huge, huge stars, all miscast. Everybody from Rod Steiger to Candice Bergen to Stephanie Powers to Suzanne Summers to Anthony Hopkins. It was insane. And I was creative consultant, but I felt that that didn't work. So the next miniseries I made, which was Chances, Lucky Chances, about Lucky Santangelo, I became a producer, and then they listened to you. And I wrote the script.
And how did you do the research on organized crime? Because there is a thread that runs through some of these books, and The Power Trip, big cartel bosses.
Well, I came to Hollywood at these teenage years, and I had this girlfriend, Judy, who was a couple of years older than me, and she had this boyfriend, Slim. And nobody ever saw Slim, and we figured he was much older than her. And one day she said to me, Slim and I have broken up, and I just bought a Buick for $500 from these brothers. I was dating 2 brothers. They owned the car lot, and they didn't know I was dating both of them, but I had the car. And she said, you've got the car. Please, can you take me to his house? I need my television back. So I said, fine, I'll drive you there, you know, what the hell. So we drive up to this big house in Bel Air, and she said, oh, it's perfectly fine. It's on the ground floor. We can get in this window. We open the window. Alarms go off. Dogs come running. The guy, Slim, was the son of a New York mobster who was very good looking and had come out to Los Angeles to become an actor, but it never happened for him. However, he took kind of pity on me, and he knew I wasn't stealing the television, and he became my godfather.
Really?
And he taught me so much.
Your real godfather?
My real godfather. Well, not my real godfather, just in name. He said, I'm looking after you, kid. You know, it was one of those, very platonic. He did look after me. I remember taking a white Thunderbird of a lawyer that I was dating and crashing it up, and he was the one that looked after everything and made sure it was all paid for and stuff. But he taught me all about that world, and I found it fascinating.
I'm sure.
I based Gino Santangelo, in the Santangelo books, on him.
And the links between, of course, the mob and politicians, the mob and entertainers.
Exactly.
All of that.
Yes, well then I know a lot of people in show business who were around in the days of Sinatra and when he was involved with Chicago gangsters and stuff, and they would tell me stories. In fact, I became kind of friendly with Sinatra a couple of years before he died, and he would also tell me stories. I remember being at the bar, talking to him, and you know, he was in and out of a good mood. He came to my house for a dinner once, and his wife bought him, but this was really near the end of his years. And I had a lovely dining room, and I could seat 40 people in it, round tables, and it looked so pretty. And his wife took him in, it was a buffet, to get his food first before everybody rushed him. But I went into the room and I thought, oh, I must photograph. I take photographs all the time. I must photograph this room. It looks so pretty. So I stood in the corner, took a photograph of the room, and suddenly Frank screams, what the hell is going on? Screaming, there's paparazzi in here. And it took me half an hour to calm him down. I had to say, no, it's just me, Frank. There's nobody outside, because it was all glass windows.
Well, see, what you don't know about the perfect couple or the Hollywood couple, and when you've witnessed it, Paul Anka said,
Oh, yes.
you know, because Sinatra mentored him, and many did in those days, and he
Right.
played Vegas, and he said it was so different in those days. They dressed like $1 million.
Oh, sure.
It was a totally different Vegas scene when he started out singing
when
Diana.
I was a teenager, I would go to Vegas and I would see Tom Jones and Elvis, and everybody was all dressed up, and it was like, you know, special.
Well, Tom Jones sometimes comes for the Face the World Foundation party some
Yes,
years, and
I
this year
know.
you're the star.
Well, I think it's going to be really fun. I really do. And they raise so much money.
I know, and it's all for good causes.
All
and
for
it's,
great
and
causes.
it's well distributed, and all the money goes to the cause.
Exactly.
Hello,
Exactly.
which is so important, as you know. Royalty, you a fan of royalty? Are you a fan of the Queen?
I like the one that's pregnant. The one that's pregnant.
Yes, her.
Yes, her.
Harry and
Yeah. Harry, I think, is great. I mean, Harry with the naked pictures in Vegas was hilarious.
Pippa.
And I think Pippa, yes.
No, that's the
No,
sister.
that's the sister. That's the sister.
It's
with
Kate.
It's Kate Middleton.
How
yes.
could we forget?
How could we forget that?
And she's preggers.
Yes, because
Yes.
in America now it's all Kim and Kate. You know, Kim.
Well, I know,
Kardashian
and
Kate.
Pippa lives in 1 Kensington, I think. A rumor has it, and all the Russians, you can relate to the Russians,
Yes.
are buying up Kensington and places like that because all this money's coming out of Russia.
Yes.
And they're trying to dig apparently underneath these beautiful mansions, 3 floors under, and the
Wow.
Brits are all up in arms.
Oh, I can imagine. I was
I
in
hear
Russia a
tell.
couple of years ago. I was in Moscow, and I found it fascinating. This is why I like to also write about Russian men, because I met a lot of them there, and there was this very famous singer there who was like the Madonna of Russia, a beautiful blonde woman, and we were filming together. They wanted to film an interview of us together, so we were walking through Red Square, and she had like 6 bodyguards, and they would just throw people out the way, and nobody objected. It was like we'd be walking, the camera crew would be there, they'd shove these people, but nobody said anything. And I thought, this is so bizarre.
Dangerous. You wrote a book once called Dangerous Kiss. Who did you read when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, I started off reading Enid Blyton, who was an English author who wrote these fantastic books. And then I moved on to Harold Robbins and Mickey Spillane.
And did you read The
And then-
Dice Man?
I loved The Dice
Me
Man,
too.
Luke Reinhardt, fantastic book.
Somehow
In fact,
I thought it would be
recommend
your book.
Yes, you live your life, you toss the dice and you decide what you're going to do next. And that tells you what to do next. I love that. It's a good
do
philosophy.
too. Always keep a die or 2 in the drawer.
Because every day is an adventure, you know. That's what I tell people who are depressed or anything like that. You've got to wake up in the morning, every day is an adventure. You don't know what's going to happen next. And that's why people like my books, because I don't know what's going to happen next in them. And when they pick them up, they don't know what's going to happen next. And I write strong women and sexy men.
Does it get better? Oh, nice to see you again.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fanny.
The Power Trip, Jackie Collins, the vivacious Jackie Collins. And remember, you can catch our conversation on YouTube or follow me or her on Twitter at Fanny Kiefer, and there will be many more exciting, vibrant, and fun guests to come. Thanks for watching Shaw TV and being here with me today.